4, and I'm going to spend a little time going into each of them. My hope, by the way, is that in a couple of years, if not sooner, these are totally obvious. So my goal is not that I came up with something totally profound, but that instead everybody sort of looks at these as obvious characteristics of a successful startup community. So the first is that the startup community has to be led by entrepreneurs. I separate the world of startup community into two categories, leaders and feeders. The leaders have to be the entrepreneurs. The feeders are everyone else. Now, it's important to realize that feeders and leaders each have super important roles. One's not better than the other, but they're different. Feeders are things like university, things like government, things like big companies, things like venture capital investors, things like lawyers, things like the accountants, things like any of the service providers around the system, big companies. One of the distinctions is that startup communities and entrepreneurs function in a network world. You're very connected. It's easy to get in touch with me. You don't have to ask somebody permission. Just send me a note, brad@feld.com. All of you in this room have very easy access to each other. Those of you that have companies that are starting to grow, yeah, companies get some hierarchy in them, but they're very flat. You just walk into the CEO's office and you start talking to the CEO or one of the founders about whatever's going on. You have spaces like this that are very egalitarian, where it's very easy to spend time with whomever. That's not how government works. That's not how universities work. That's not how big companies work. They're hierarchies. Right? There's people that have roles, and they have bosses, and they have bosses, and they have bosses. And, right? They run on a time cycle that is linked to that hierarchy. You can't just walk into the CEO's office. So they're different. And they're not better or worse. But anybody who's ever been in a hierarchy that's tried to interface with a network understands how frustrating that is, because it's hard to figure out what to do to it.